Never mind. Survivalist rule number 1: don't dwell on what can't be fixed. She felt around in a side pocket of her backpack, where she kept her energy bars. She'd packed a few as a special treat, despite the excessive sugar and non-biodegradable packaging. There was only a half bar left. Well, you wanted to travel light, she muttered to herself, breaking the half in half. She popped one piece into her mouth and then stowed the rest for later. Hoisting her backpack onto her back, she resumed her climb. She would just have to summit as fast as she could and hope to find cover on the other side. She breathed a sigh of relief when she got to the top. There were no sentries pointing guns at her, just a narrow plateau surrounded by jagged rocks. She was exposed for only a moment before she was able to crouch behind a ledge and look around. No sign of cameras or motion detectors, she noted. Maybe they assumed that nobody would be foolhardy enough to come up there. Below her was the crater proper, a 3-mile-wide bowl protected on all sides by walls of rock and miles of desert. An impressive sight, even in the dim light of the moon. What bribes or tricks the enemy had employed to lay hold of this vast natural fortress in the middle of nowhere, she did not care to know. What concerned her was why they wanted it in the first place. They claimed in public documents to be building a nature preserve and resort hotel, but there was very little nature to preserve. All life at this location had been destroyed by a meteorite thousands of years ago. As for a hotel, the crater would be nearly impossible for most tourists to reach. Why, then, were they there? What nefarious activity required such an enormous and remote location? She'd been trying to answer that question for months when she heard a rumor about a secret and very technologically advanced breeding program. The rumor sounded far-fetched, yes, but when it came to them, nothing was truly far-fetched. Her colleagues had urged caution, but she felt there was no choice. She had to investigate. She put a scope to her eye and peered down into the distance. The satellite photos that she'd studied before her trip must have been older than she thought, or else construction was proceeding very fast. Twinkling lights revealed at least 3 more buildings than she remembered, and she was nearly certain that the lake hadn't been there before. Not to mention all those trees. Tens of thousands of them, it looked like. Where are they getting the water? She wondered. Talk about environmental irresponsibility. It was as though they were trying to create their own tropical ecosystem in the middle of a desert. She glanced at her watch. She had to get down there, survey the site, plant the hidden cameras and chemical emission sensors, and then climb out, all before daybreak. Less than 3 hours. A terrible screech pierced the silence. What on earth? She stood still for a moment, then heard it again. It was not a human cry, nor was it like any animal cry she'd ever heard. Nevertheless, it was a cry of distress. Of that, she was certain. It sounded quite close, but she couldn't tell where it was coming from. Cautiously, she made a circle, looking above and below and in the surrounding rocks. She saw no signs of life, not even a weed. Perhaps the creature was farther away than she thought. She was on the verge of giving up the search when a new sound caught her attention.